Hi, welcome to Give Me the Bible, where God's Word speaks for itself. In probably about the last 20 or so videos, we've just been talking about some different aspects of the Christian life and what it means to live as a Christian. And so I kind of just want to continue, and I'll switch subjects, but at the same time, this falls under the category of Christian living. And I want to talk about the fact that Christianity can be very hard. Christianity can be very, very difficult. And this is so important to talk about because, initially people might respond negatively to that and think, well, Brian, why would you tell me that? Why don't you tell me, how amazing and how awesome and how great it is? I don't deny that it's amazing, awesome, and great, but we're really unfair to ourselves, and we're going to run into a lot of serious issues if we don't come to grips with the realization that Christianity is hard. Jesus was not... he didn't beat around the bush when it came to this subject. Jesus was very direct with people. He did not try to hide the fact that if they wanted to follow him, it was going to be difficult. In fact, look in Luke chapter 9. Luke 9, there's somebody who is just super excited to follow Jesus. Luke 9, verse 57. As they were going along the road, someone said to him, "I will follow you wherever you go." And instead of Jesus, I'll just stop there for a second. Instead of Jesus saying, "All right, that's so awesome. I love your zeal. You have such a great attitude. Come on, hop aboard." Instead, he says in verse 58, Jesus said to him, "The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." I don't think he was just trying to burst this guy's bubble or anything. It's just he was trying to make sure he had a realistic picture of what exactly he was asking when he asked to follow Jesus wherever he goes. Jesus saying, "Listen, I don't really belong here on this earth. I don't really have a solid, stable, steady place to stay. I'm kind of just a drifter. I'm kind of a wanderer. And if you come follow me, well, people are going to really look down on you kind of in the same way. You're not going to have much stability." In fact, in other places, he told his disciples that they would be hated by people because of him. Matthew 10, verse 22, he says, "You will be hated by all for my name's sake." So Jesus really was kind of blunt with his disciples that, listen, what you're taking on is very serious, and it could be very difficult. In fact, look in Luke 14. Jesus goes even further and tells people not to come to him unless they've actually counted the cost of the difficulty of what it would mean to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. And he says in Luke 14, verse 25, "Now large crowds were going along with him, and he turned and he said to them, 'If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple.'" Now, some people have an issue with this passage that Jesus is saying you should hate your parents. Well, that's obviously contradictory to where Jesus, tells us to love people and love everybody. So what he's saying is he's pointing out a point of comparison, that we would love Jesus so much that it's almost as if we would hate our parents in comparison. So if we have to, in other words, if we have to choose between following our parents or following Jesus, Jesus says, you better be ready to follow me, even if that means creating some sort of division between you and your family, because Jesus says, I'm the way, I'm the truth and the life, John 14:6. And this is why he says, make sure to count the cost before coming to me. He continues in verse 27, "Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which one of you, when he wants to build a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he's laid a foundation, he's not able to finish. All who observe it begin to ridicule him, saying, 'This man began to build and was not able to finish.'" These things are very serious. Jesus says you need to make sure, before you get all excited about following me, that you know what you're getting into, that you know how difficult it's going to be, and you know what a commitment it's going to be, and you know what kind of sacrifice it's going to take from you, because it's going to take all of those things. And now, again, maybe somebody's wondering, well, Brian, why in the world did you tell me that? That actually makes me feel kind of bad. I tell you why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because it's going to help you in the long run. Because those who do not have a realistic view of Christianity, what happens is they get all fired up about Jesus, and they just, they're going to church and they're reading their Bibles and everything's just great, until what happens? Until hardship happens and they start suffering and they find out that, hey, being a Christian is actually kind of hard, and it doesn't make all my problems just suddenly magically disappear, and this is actually taking a lot of effort on my part. And guess what? They fall away and they say, well, I don't want anything else to do with this. So when we are realistic about the commitment to Christ, it will put things in perspective and it will help us to stay faithful. I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you next time.